So games are complicated. They often end up being way more code than you expect. To get an idea of why, let's try breaking down a classic game into its components and its behaviors. If you haven't played Tetris, go play it like right now. It's an essential part of gaming history. If you just Google for Tetris, you'll find a dozen versions you can play online for free. Let's do an object-oriented analysis of Tetris. What we're going to do is write down a paragraph describing exactly how Tetris works. Then we're going to underline all of the nouns to get an idea of what classes we might need to implement Tetris. Then we'll underline all the verbs to get an idea what methods those classes might need.
So, what is Tetris? Tetris is a game where colored tetraminos, that's the technical term, fall down a field of play until they collide with a previously placed tetramino. As a tetramino is falling, the user can rotate it and can drop it into place. Once a tetramino comes to rest, if a line of blocks in the field of play is complete, it is removed, and all blocks placed above it are moved down. Removing a line earns points. Points are displayed on a scoreboard along with a preview of the next tetramino. Now that's a super cursory description, but even here we have a bunch of classes we would need in order to implement the game. We would need a game class to set everything in motion and coordinate the rest of the actors. We would need a class for the falling tetramino to represent its position and its rotation, and also what shape it is. We would need a field of play to represent where all the blocks are and to put the tetramino somewhere. Speaking of attributes of the tetramino, we'd probably also want a class to represent colors. Scanning through some more nouns, we find blocks. All right, so we might want a class for blocks, or perhaps blocks is just part of the field of play. I don't know, it's hard to say how to design it best. Then we see we have points. We need a class to represent how many points we have. We'd also need a scoreboard to display those points, and we need this whole preview pane thing. Now let's scan through for some verbs to find what methods these various classes would need. So the tetraminos need to know how to fall. The tetraminos also need to know how to rotate and how to drop. Some class needs to know when a tetramino collides with blocks that are already in the field of play. Maybe the tetramino is responsible for that. Maybe the field of play is responsible for that. Then there's this concept of coming to rest, where a falling tetramino just turns into blocks in the field of play. Scanning through some more, we need a way to remove lines of blocks from the field of play. We need a way to move down blocks after a line is removed. Then there's the fact that all of this needs to know how to draw itself, and that's a big task. So again, this is just a short description of Tetris and an incredibly simple analysis of it. We could keep going here. Point is, games are complicated, and decomposing them into their component parts is essential to making any headway in actually implementing them.